When these folks are wearing these ankle monitors, it monitors them and limits them. They can only travel 75 miles within their address. And to put more insult to injury, it doesn't get better. If they need to go further, they must call ICE and ask for permission. So it's not even just that you're being monitored, but your life and all the freedoms that you thought you had are not completely restricted and is by the pleasure of ICE.
For now, we will move on to the United States of America, where just last week the Trump administration pulled the rug out from under roughly 350,000 Haitians living legally in the United States. The Trump administration ended temporary protected status for Haitians that had shielded them since the catastrophic 2010 earthquake, again, through years of gang violence and political collapse, all of which has only gotten worse, much of it made even worse by U.S. policies. The official termination date for TPS was July 27th. And over the weekend, we got a preview of what quote unquote termination actually looks like on the ground, you guys, and it's horrific. In Ohio, which is home to tens of thousands of Haitians, including the Springfield community that you might remember Trump and JD Vance spent the 2024 presidential election slandering with lies about eating pets, ICE summoned people to these mandatory check-ins and then sent them home shackled with ankle monitors. The choice that was on offer to these people was either strap on a GPS device that confines you to a 75-mile radius or take $2,600 and a one-way flight back to a country that the U.S. State Department itself tells Americans not to travel to. Community organizers are calling it modern-day shackling. This is, of course, happening as ICE detentions deaths have hit record numbers, at least 23 people dead in custody this year, with new unconfirmed reports of another death at the Dilley Family Detention Center in Texas, though Family Detention Center is quite the euphemism for something that is just a disgusting place of human misery that is actually imprisoning children, holding them in conditions that advocates describe as horrific. Children. It's working as it was designed, though. ICE just posted the biggest arrest month in its history, roughly 51,000 people in July alone. More than 1,600 people a day. The second record-breaking month in a row, fueled by billions in fresh funding and thousands of newly hired agents from Trump's reconciliation bills. This administration is bragging about it. Ending Haitian TPS is just one lever in a machine built to arrest and deport at a scale this country has never seen. Here to help us unpack all of it is Kerbie Joseph, community organizer with Caribbean Defense. Kerbie, welcome to BT Live.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming on. There's so much to get into here. Let's start with what happened over the weekend in Ohio. People went to what they were told were these routine check-ins, and they left with ankle monitors on. So maybe walk us through what the Haitian community is experiencing right now and what that GPS shackle actually means for someone's daily life, their ability to work, to move, to just exist.
So, what happened in Ohio and what's going on? Ohio has about 30,000 Haitians, and within Springfield, Ohio, there's 10 to 15,000 Haitian folks there. Folks received a letter in the mail that told them that they had to go to this facility. Obviously, they were lied to. They had no idea that part of going to this facility would mean that they would end up with an ankle monitor. And there's only two options. There's nothing about how has your status been. There's nothing about how has work been. There's nothing about what's going on with your family. You will get two options. And it's just like you said, you get $2,600 and a one-way ticket, which is something that we started to see even last year when the ICE out struggle started to reach its peak. But back then they were being offered $1,600. or you get this ankle monitor. Now, it's something very important to understand about the ankle monitor. We're talking about incarceration. And when we talk about ICE and we talk about state violence, we have to look at it as such. We're talking about mass incarceration in this form. When these folks are wearing these ankle monitors, it monitors them and limits them. They can only travel 75 miles within their address. And to put more insult to injury, it doesn't get better. If they need to go further, they must call ICE and ask for permission. So it's not even just that you're being monitored, but your life and all the freedoms that you thought you had are now completely restricted and is by the pleasure of ICE.
I mean, it's really horrifying. I don't really have other words besides this is criminal. This is a complete violation of people's basic human rights. And I think, again, it's no surprise that the most vicious attacks that the administration has launched have been against Black immigrant communities, whether it's against the Somalis or now against Haitian immigrants. But I did want to get to another point about TPS itself. The administration is framing the termination of TPS not in the fact that Haiti has gotten safer, but is just saying, temporary status was always temporary. And again, this U.S. State Department, United Nations, all released and continue to release reports, showing that the situation in Haiti has gotten worse over the past several years. The U.S. has spearheaded the multinational security mission to the country, where we saw hundreds of Kenyan police officers deployed to Haiti in an attempt, financed by the U.S., but not manned by the U.S. to allegedly stabilize the situation, a repeat of MINUSTA, MINUJUS, all of these horrific missions. But, I mean, what does it say that the U.S. is pushing 350,000 people back towards a crisis that the United States created, that it acknowledges that is dangerous? Is it that the U.S. is attempting to push these people back, or is there something more sinister? Is this a plot to mass incarcerate hundreds of thousands of people while the private prison, complex continues to profit from this mass deportation push?
I mean, one of the things that we know it is not about the safety of Haitians. I mean, the whole occupation started first and foremost in 2022, 2023 as a way to keep Haiti safe and bring democracy and safety to Haiti. And yet, after a few deployments of Kenyan troops, but now other folks, with an agency that we know that many of you have spoken about in terms of Blackwater, and drone attacks that we are now seeing happen in Haiti at a more frequent rate, we know that this was not a safety concern for the Haitian people. Haiti has been experiencing destabilization since its revolution in 1804. The legal occupation, the first occupation of Haiti happened in 1915. And it's been a corral of ligaments from that time, whether it be the taking over of Haitian finances, whether it be the crippling of Haitian economy through debt created by the United States and French governments, or whether it be through forced labor. I mean, average Haitian a day makes about $2 US a day. And when Haitian workers actually went on strike during the Obama administration asking for $5 a day, well, the Obama administration actually said no, $2 a day. And so we're talking about people who have been destabilized by the United States government, destabilized by the French government, who labor has always been used as an extension of slave labor, who in 1990 thought that there was some solace with the TPS program. And now what we experience is that being taken away from workers who have been here for 30, 20 years. We're talking about workers who developed a life in the United States and pay taxes in the United States, who are now being looked at as criminals, who are now being looked at as folks who are sucking the nation, right? Who are being scapegoated for what is happening to working class workers. When we talk about the TPS struggle, we are looking at it in all sense as a worker struggle. We're telling people to align with Haitians because they're your workers, they're your co-workers, they're folks who work with you in agricultural work, who work with you in hospitals, who work with you in medical facilities, who are teachers, who are paras, folks who literally every day by the thousands wake up, go to work just like you, who from every level of society, whether it's here or abroad, back in Haiti, are experiencing destabilization, but most importantly, losing their dignity and integrity.
I mean, very well said. And like, we'll get to, this is an important call to action here, but I just want to raise, and I mentioned it in the opening, Donald Trump and JD Vance, when they were running in 2024, they built a huge part of their campaign on demonizing Haitians, specifically in Springfield, with the whole eating pets lie. And that machinery, like the machinery is basically catching up to that rhetoric, right? ICE just logged its biggest arrest month ever, 51,000 people in July. And the coverage openly frames it as a plan to surge arrests of Haitian migrants. It's really an industrial scale operation to round people up with this kind of racist story built into its foundation. So I guess, how do you connect the scapegoating we heard on the campaign trail to what's now being done to the Haitian community at this scale?
I mean, the Haitian community has faced lies of propaganda from the beginning as well. That's how the revolution was able to be looked at as a catastrophe to the white ruling class of the world. But then it didn't just start with 2024. We can't forget what Trump did in 2018, where he said that Haiti is a shithole nation as well as other nations in Africa and should be treated as such. And so they're going along with the playbook that they've always used. In fact, Haitians don't expect anything less, no matter who's in power, because of the understanding of stereotypes that have been fed over and over and over by the US media that has been amplified by folks who are supposed to be political leaders. But it just goes into a long list of xenophobia that Haitians have experienced as well as other nations have experienced. TPS doesn't just impact Haitians, it's 17 other nations that are experiencing some type of fear because of the precedents that June 25th and the Supreme Court set into motion.
Yeah, I mean, it's really disgusting. And again, I just do want to emphasize the fact that the most vicious attacks against, rhetorical attacks that we've seen from the Trump administration have been against just trying to tie together the two evils in America, racism and xenophobia. And so let's intensify our xenophobic attacks by, targeting Somali immigrants, by targeting Haitian immigrants. And in this case, with the Somali community, actually, they made a huge mistake because the Somali community is largely has papers. In the case of Haitian immigrants, they realize that they do have a loophole. They have the TPS program, which Kerbie, you've pointed out many times, it was, just as the Trump administration says that it was never meant to be permanent, this is, of course, a challenge for organizers because TPS does not lead to permanent status in any case. Before going into, question just about the deaths that we've seen recently in the ankle monitor, I wanted to ask you, what are Haitian people, how are they responding to this? Because, you rightly pointed out in many occasions that once you end TPS, it's not like you have another pathway to stay. And so how are people actually grappling with this? We know that last week there were reports of hundreds of people being mass laid off from, again, you said it, nursing homes, healthcare centers. We know that a lot of adult care facilities have actually had to, decrease their services because they relied so much on the Haitian community. So how are people responding right now? And what is the pathway for any sort of status where they're not constantly under attack?
So there's a few things that are happening. So one thing for sure is that a lot of Haitian folks are experiencing a lot of fear, trying to figure out what their status means now and what it means to their children. So there's a lot of conversations that are happening where TPS holders are asking, what will happen to my children? They were born here. So just want to state that for any TPS holder who has children in the United States, your children are US citizens that cannot be taken away. But it also makes room for more fear legally. What we're seeing is that a lot of Haitians are receiving bad legal advice, whether they can afford an attorney or not. They're being pushed towards other statuses that may not help their particular situation. There's a lot of avenues that Haitians can take in terms of what status they can have next, whether it be green card, whether it be T visas, U visa, whether it be VAWA, whether it be DACA. But we need to make sure that Haitian community members are actually tapping into folks who can give them that specific information. So one, Haitians who are former TPS holders are looking for proper legal advice. What we're also experiencing, though, is that Haitians are being scammed. So not only are they receiving bad legal advice, they're receiving false, bad legal advice that is being overcharged. And out of fear, Haitians are paying for this because they think that's their only option, unfortunately. We're also experiencing a flip side to this, where Haitians are actually fighting back. We're seeing across the country, demonstrations are happening. We're seeing across the country that organizers are doing ICE Watch at an accelerated rate. So just as we see that July has been the heaviest month for ICE kidnappings, we're also seeing July coming into August. Happy Black August, everyone. Is also moving into more information. Organizers are pushing out as much information as they can. These are your rights. This is what you can and cannot do. Haitians are also still going to work. As long as they're not fired, they're going to work. There is a concern that employers will be intimidated to fire folks. There's the tax and work legality that employers have to contend with their employees, but Haitians have the legal right not to disclose their status. And I think something that's very important is that as long as you continue to work at your job, whether you're a former TPS holder or not, you must be paid for your work. Something that is coming up as a fear is, will Haitians be scammed out of their hours as they continue to work, which is a concern that is also coming up. So we're experiencing the gamut. Folks looking for legal advice, people still reporting back to work, people contemplating whether to self-deport out of fear. Haitians all over the country are watching what's happening in Springfield, Ohio, are watching what's happening in Ohio, are paying attention to what's happening in Texas, and trying to figure out what works best for them. But I do want to say that there is an energy that's also happening because of what Haitians have seen, particularly in Minnesota. This energy to fight back. What can we do? How do we keep the pressure on? There are different strategies that are coming up to play, like Senate Bill 4814, which is an extension, which is a bill to extend TPS for 3 more years. But again, the pathway that we're looking for is permanent residency, citizenship, guaranteed dignity, guaranteed livelihood. And that's what Haitians are thinking about. What do we have to do as a community? Who do we have to work with? Who do we have to align with to guarantee that safety? We don't want nets, and me as a Haitian person, but not a TPS holder. The community doesn't want any more nets. We want guarantee.
So on that note, before we let you go here, Kerbie, you organize under the banner of Caribbean Defense. For the people watching who are scared right now, and for really everyone who wants to fight back, where does it go from here? What does resistance and protection look like on the ground? And most importantly, what can people do to get involved?
Caribbean Defense was and is an organization that was created to be this organizing vehicle for Caribbean community members who are immigrants of any status. We have been lucky to be able to build amazing relationships with organizations and organizers that you probably had on the show, whether it's Haitian Women for Haitian Refugees, whether it be Komakota, whether it be Assemblée pour Haiti, and all these other amazing groups who are constantly doing work on the ground. We've been using different mediums like political education. We've been doing actions, mobilizing people, speaking to people, figuring out how to get people resources. I mean, Haitians right now are even facing harassment from their landlords who are dressing up as ICE agents to get them out of their homes, right? And so we have been able to work with different organizations who are not only just looking at and analyzing the situation, but going into the ground and supporting community, showing up to apartments of Haitian folks who need support, going to court with Haitian folks who need support, making sure that materials are translated. Something that we see that is an issue is that we're agitating and speaking to folks, but they may not understand fully, just in terms of language, what is going on, what are their options, because there are not a lot of folks who may be able to read and write in Creole. This is something that we've been able to provide also with Caribbean Defense. We are also literally on the ground every day talking to community members who are telling us these stories about the trauma that they're experiencing, about the fear, them wanting to hide, but also understanding that that's not the work right now, that it is to be in the front. It is to be out, to understand that community is there to support, and other organizations are rallying to gather all the resources that they can, to gather all the care that they can, to make sure that the actions are safe, to make sure that the information is current, to make sure that the legal advice is correct, to make sure that we can keep folks in their homes, to make sure that we will be there at their jobs. I mean, there's discussions happening right now about how to make sure that employers don't let ICE in to the building. What do we have to do? There are nurses who are talking to us who are like, I'm worried about my coworkers. And that's actually what we want, right? Because Haitians will lead this struggle, but people power will help build this struggle, will help build this movement and build a consistent movement. And we've been so lucky to see not only movement coming out, but Haitians coming out and stepping in and saying what they want, which is permanent residency status, full dignity and respect, and the right to self-determination.
Incredible.
Well, thank you. Yeah, sorry. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the work you're doing. Really appreciate you coming on to break all this down. And we will continue to cover this story, and we will be calling you back to come discuss developments as they continue. Thank you so much, Kerbie. Appreciate you.
Call me.